All right, we're back, and I've been doing a little bit of work. As you can see behind me, we got some little museum exhibits built up, and I think I've decided that the challenge I want to do for 1.5 is going to be to build somewhere between 5 and 10 redstone contraptions. I think it's the redstone update, so let's do redstone. I think that makes sense. 5 seems like it might be too little. Oh, the sheep are kind of loud here, so while I'm talking, let's get away from the sheep. 5 seems a little too little. I especially will definitely be following some tutorials because I don't know what I'm doing, as was probably apparent in the last episode. So 5 might be too little. 10 feels like it might be a good number. I don't know yet. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But anyway, here's all the stuff I've been working on. We got one more sheep in there in the red. I also don't think I showed this off. I walked past it and just didn't say anything. This is like the facade of the barn I built, and that's all of my first tools and my first diamond. I think I want to name the diamond, but I haven't done that yet. And then I got a map. It's not a very good map. There wasn't really a good spot to get one single map, but there's not enough information up top to make it worth having another map. But this is the terraformed forest. This is my custom river, and you can see it's kind of got that darker shade. That's where the waterfall is, and the lake on top of the mountain with these man-made structures over here. And I made this little thing. This is supposed to be a facade of the little base I had over there, but I might lift up this whole wall and give it more space to make it actually look like that. But then we did the desert area, and this is harder to do. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to put in here, but don't have the space to do. So I just left it like this. I like it. It's okay. This is obviously the steps, and you can see the pillars, or pillars, or what I call them, columns. I'm not sure actually. You can see this is representative of the desert, and this is the palace building I made. And then it's going to come into here, and this is where the 1.4 stuff is going to be. So this is 1.3. All we did was, the main thing we did was build the desert village, and 1.2, as we knew, we terraformed the jungle, and 1.1 was a lot. But now I need to decide what sort of thing I'm doing this episode. I'm actually started recording without figuring out what I'm going to do. I think maybe I saw a tutorial on an automated wither skeleton farm that uses daylight sensors. I saw that tutorial when I was trying to farm wither skeletons in 1.4, and because it used daylight sensors, I couldn't do that because that's 1.5 feature. And I might go back to the nether and make that automated farm, but I probably do a lot of that off camera. I don't know what I'm doing this episode. I've also started gathering more stuff. Like I've seen, we got all of that. We got the cobblestone and the sand. I started gathering a bunch of spruce. That's why there's a bunch of trees planted up there. And blue wool, because I have the sheep here anyway, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time in this area. I may as well be farming the sheep while I can. And they were already blue wool because of the rug, so I just kept them that way. And I'll probably work on that's what I'll do. I figured it out. I'm going to work on this entrance. We're going to do this entryway. I haven't done this. This is the ugliest. I'll finally finish this project and have an entrance. Everything else looks pretty nice, but there is just no entryway. So that's what we'll work on right now. So I moved the sheep to be able to build in silence up there, but I got a little bit of a moral question. Is it okay to have your sheep in a pen where the rug is their own wool? I don't want to remove it, but I don't know how I feel about that. You know? All right, I think that's what I got. I think I like this. It's kind of minimalist, but also slightly intricate. All these stairs give off the impression that there's sort of a design to it, but also they're just a bunch of stairs stacked on top of each other. And it's not bad. We also got some glowstone in here, so at night it's going to be lit up. And I think this looks pretty decent. It's not anything super special. I now have to figure out what to do on the inside. All right, I got something. It's not super pretty or nice, but it's functional. These are hiding the glowstone blocks, so it looks good. And I would continue to fiddle with this, but if I keep messing with this, then I will never finish this project ever, because I will just keep messing and keep messing and keep messing until eternity. And I also did the rug, or sort of entry hall rug thing. I like the purple and the dark blue kind of highlighting the cyan here. And then this all fades into this light gray, which will eventually give way to stone brick, maybe stone. I don't know which one is harsher of a transition, whichever one isn't. So that when it gives way to stone brick, there'll be stone brick on either side of here, and a 3 wide path of quartz that will just go straight down a stairs of quartz until you end up here and here, where everything's going to be quartz. Still haven't decided what the walls are going to be down here, but that's for a later time. Now, I've also worked on another area, I guess exhibit you would call. Firstly, I also went ahead and got a map of the desert town, which apparently sandstone appears as stone on a map, which is very weird and makes this extremely weird because these are all sandstone houses and the palace sandstone on the top. So it looks like it's all made of stone brick, but it's actually sandstone. You can even see this guy. This is one of the pre-generated pyramids. This isn't even my building. It's just a pyramid, and it's showing up as if it were stone. So it's very weird. I don't understand that. But then if I were to create a bigger map, this jungle extends well over here until you get to a swamp somewhere around there-ish, which is what this is. This is the swamp. This is where I built a witch's hut, and this is kind of the facade of it. I might add stone brick stairs up here for a roof. And this is the map. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the map wanted to cut the hut in half. So we got the front half here and the back half here. This is where I did some farming, although you can not really even tell, which is what that's about. This is the carrots and the potatoes, because they were discovered in this version. I think they were added in this version, and I discovered and farmed them. I will also eventually have like a wither skeleton skull somewhere on one of these walls, because that was a big part of the 1.4 update. But that requires me farming wither skeletons again, and I do not want to do that right now. But anyway, I had an idea for something redstone related I want to go create. So I'm going to take a break from farming, getting all this wool and all that stuff, and I'm going to jump into my creative redstone world and try to explain what I'm thinking. So the idea in its simplest form is sort of a Metroidvania puzzler. And I know, since this is a single-player world, I'm going to know the answer to the puzzle. It is less about actually needing to solve it, and more about whether or not I can create it. So you're going to start in a room with 4 doors, and each door is going to go out into its own room, which will have pieces of a different puzzle. So like, maybe this door, I think you can put stuff in a dropper and take a comparator output. Oops, I left. And I think this is equal to 2, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have redstone dust on me. Redstone dust. I think this is 2. Yeah. So something that is just doesn't stack is equal to 2. And then something that does stack is equal to 1. I think is how it works. Yes. So I can use that idea to make a way to open a door. So maybe you come into this door and you find an item to put into that dropper. So you have to go through this door, you have to do some sort of puzzle or something, get the item into this dropper, and then you go through this door, which will have a puzzle, and it will be able to open one of these two doors, and etc., etc. And then there will also be layered puzzles. So like there might be, you might need to collect a certain number of items. I think I looked into the snapshot videos and I saw one of them about this guy, and I can't remember if it's the gold or the iron one that needs less, but whichever one it is, you do the lesser one, and then you say you got to find a certain number of items. I think 5 items will get to 2, and 9 items will get a signal strength of 3, etc., etc. Every 4 items is a signal strength. And so maybe in each room is a certain number of items, and you have to go back and forth and find a certain number of items. So it's a puzzle within a puzzle. So elaborate puzzles in 4 or 5 rooms is the idea. Kind of roguelike Metroidvania. And like I said, it's a single player, so I'll know the answer to the puzzle. It's not about whether I can actually solve it. It's about whether or not I can make it. But I'm really excited about the potential of this. And I think it will be fun to try to create in survival. So that's what I'm going to do for one of my redstone contraptions. Although technically it's going to be like 5 redstone contraptions, but I'm only going to count it as 1. So I'm going to get to work on that. I'm going to stay in this creative world and mess around for a little bit, see what I can come up with. Okay, here's something. So, like I said, this is a dropper with an item in it, and when you have the item, it sends out the right number signal amount so that it then goes, this is probably a roundabout way of doing this, but it gets the signal strength of 2 because this is a non-stackable item, and then that hits the repeater, which hits this redstone torch, and hits this redstone torch, which goes over these doors. So this dropper with the water bottle is opening these doors, which you get through this area. So first you have a button that will open this one. This is the first room you're going to go in. I don't know what puzzle, if any, you're going to do here. This might just be a room that you return to later, but oops. In some way, shape, or form, you're going to have a chest with a lever so that you're going to have a lever so that you can leave, and then you're going to have a water bottle so that you can open this door. And then there's a block update detector. So if you don't know what this is, there's a piston here with a redstone block on it, and then these repeater into a torch into another repeater. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100. I'm not exactly sure how it works. I think it's somewhat to do with the mechanic on the 3x3 door that I was working on that had the 2 pistons on the top extending at the same time, even though they technically shouldn't have. I think it's utilizing that sort of thing. So this is technically not powered because this repeater is going into this block, which technically doesn't power this one, but for whatever reason, when you update it by putting a block next to it, it thinks it's powered. But then powering it with this redstone block powers this guy, which turns all of these off, so it no longer thinks that it's working. So watch it over here. You'll see them turn off, and that's when it retracts. And then it just loops and loops. And that's a block update detector, I think. I don't really know redstone, so that explanation could be terrible. I don't know. But the idea being that eventually in one of these rooms, probably not this one because this is the second room you're going to get to, maybe even the last room, you're going to find a block. And this is where you'll take it back to. You'll put it here. It will hit this, which this is called a T flip-flop. For people who know redstone, I'm not going to explain because just the explanation of the block update detector, I'm terrible at explaining things. But for the people who know redstone, this is a T flip-flop. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, T flip-flop. And it's going into this comparator, which will take a repeater, and this will go somewhere to one of the other rooms to open the final door or open a piece of a puzzle. Maybe you have to do this and something else in a different room to unlock the final thing. But that's the general idea. I want you to be going into one room, figuring out one piece of the puzzle that will unlock another room, and then you realize, oh, this takes me back to this room and unlocks an extra piece of the puzzle that I didn't even know I needed. And so you get that Metroidvania sort of feel. Sort of in a Metroidvania, you're unlocking powers and suddenly you can get to new places because you have the double jump so you can reach higher and that sort of thing. Which just makes me come up with an idea, but I can't do it because I can't kill a wither. I just thought about using beacons, but I can't kill a wither, so I'm not doing that. But it would be a potential idea if I was able to kill withers. Make a double jump. This is the general gist of what I'm thinking. I'm going to keep brainstorming, and I'll see you back in survival. But I think that's a good place to leave the episode off. Let me know what you think. Do you like these kind of redstone episodes? I don't know if I'm doing really good with them. I think I just sound like an idiot trying to explain things that I don't understand. But maybe that's not true. It probably is true, but maybe let me know what you think. Why am I so bad at outros? Let me know what you think. Leave a like and subscribe if you like what you see, and I'll see you next time.